Hello, beautiful family. How are you all doing? Thank you for the love and the support. So, my beautiful people, today I have a quick one to share with you. One that's the normally session never ends. See, I know that a lot of people know this brother that is right here that you are seeing right now. He once worked with Dr. Shu Ayaba of Ambazonia. He has a lot to say, but anyways, I just have to bring a brief talk about the interview that he was granted. So if you want to really listen to the full interview, you have to go to Biafra TV where you can listen to the full or complete interview. So I just brought a little here for us to dissect it, but please keep the comment section holy. As I said before, you might agree with some things that he's saying here and you might also disagree. Drop your opinion in the comment section. As I said before, some persons might agree with what he said, while some will disagree, but does not make us enemy. So sit back, listen to him, and I'll be right back.
Ayaba show when IPOB and Ambazonia entered the alliance. But all of a sudden, things went south. After Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped, Ayaba tried to pressure the IPOB leadership, that's the director of state, telling them the way he felt that it's better for him to go. But IPOB did not want to toe that line that he was suggesting for them. And it was so sad that Show Ayaba faulted the IPOB Ambazonia Accord, which led the IPOB leadership to pull out of every agreement or earlier agreement held with the people of Ambazonia. Can you tell us exactly what happened that made Show now to go to the? I will call. I don't even know. I don't want to call him an opponent, but someone who thinks that he can now replace Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Can you tell us what exactly happened to that alliance that made Show Ayaba to go to him and now stand with him?
Yeah, I think it was a betrayal for most of the part to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that the person which he personally engaged with. Because I remember at that time, there were other factions within the Ambazonian struggle. Remember, Ambazonia struggle also have several factions. There were several factions that were engaging with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and exploring the possibility of having an alliance. And we had a very robust strategic plan that I think I helped draft that strategic plan. I was the head of our communication as well in terms of the PR of how it will be rolled out and to be able to governize our resources, our people for effective self-determination push. So the fact that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu personally accepted that alliance with Ayabacho, I think it was a betrayal for Ayabacho to break ranks with him at his lowest point. And it is driven by showmanship. As you can see, the character of Simon Ekpa and Ayabacho, they have similar character. They are both very passionate about what they do, but there's a risk when you are a leader and you are desperate for power to help your people, and you sometimes turns to your extreme side when you don't have a corresponding strength to show up or capacity to show up what you project on social media. It is very easy to go to your dark side. And I have actually been walking that dark tunnel, I think, with Simon Ekpa, pushing the radicalization far beyond their capacity to control that radicalization and even helping the enemy, the oppressor, to be able to take advantage of their radicalism. Simon Ekpa, just like Ayabacho, have been pushing policies that have not come from them. And one good example was the excessive use of lockdown in the Biafran region. I was approached by the Biafran community, I think in Northern America and the one in Hong Kong. I had several meetings with them where complaints were made about a 1 month lockdown that was declared then by Simon Ekpa. I approached Simon Ekpa with those issues, and he was very upfront to explain that the main reason those lockdowns were being declared was that he had pressure from the ground, from the forces on the ground. And I think that is the same thing with Ayabacho. When you have pressure from people that you want to use to project yourself, that you don't necessarily have control over, because every political leader, every activist that is in this arena of self-defense, arena of self-determination, you're fighting against a country. You must be able to control the people that you claim you represent. But if those people are the ones controlling you, the intelligence service of the government will easily take advantage of it. You can have people approaching you and telling you they are soldiers on the ground, they want to fight in your name, they want to carry out operations. It is very easy and tempting as a leader to say, okay, go and shoot gun here and there, cause chaos, and then I claim credit. It makes me look like a strong man. But at the end of the day, when those people start using that same power, when you have given them that legitimacy to start killing your own people, which is what the oppressors will do, they will carry force flag attack against your own people, so that the general population will detest the movement. They have killed Nigerian civil leaders on the ground, attacked people of very significant that are loved by the population. And then now these leaders who have come to claim that they own these guys, they cannot distinguish between the action of these criminals, and some of these criminal gangs are actually controlled by the Nigerian security agency on the ground. You can't put yourself in that situation. It is a trap I had worked with Ayaba to fight off these urges to accept groups that you have no control over. And when you go down that path, your people will suffer. You will be trapped in a place where you cannot pull back. I don't think Samuel Ekpa has learned from what has happened to Ayaba. Ayaba have been arrested in Europe, and there are interests of the United States even extraditing him to America to answer for crimes which has happened in Ambazonia. Simon Ekpa may end up falling in the same trap where he has endorsed group in Biafra, claiming now he's a prime minister of Biafra and having armed forces that he did not control. When those groups will start committing war crimes that are documented, he will not be able to distinguish himself or run away from the act. We should understand that propaganda is a tool of war, is a tool of leadership, but it also have its lapses. Sometimes when you are not careful and you don't tame yourself, or you don't have people around you who can advise you as a leader to be able to tame your pride and build capacity that you can work with to do your propaganda, because propaganda is a legitimate tool of war. Even governments, they use propaganda. You can fall into that type of situation. And Mwada, Jovista, I want to also mention that the day that is being celebrated, I say the day that is being celebrated as the Independence Day of Nigeria, 1st of October, I want to remind the Biafran people that is the same day that Ambazonia break up from Nigeria. We were all part of the Eastern region that was created in 1960 to 1963 by the British government. We were part of Onugu. We had parliamentarians in Onugu. And on the 1st of October, we seceded with the United Nations Resolution 1608 and become part of Cameroon after a plebiscite. So we have a joint history. Most Nigerians during that era had served in the military in Ambazonia. Many of our parents studied in universities in Nigeria. We were all one people using one passport. For 41 years, we had been one people with Nigeria, sharing Nigerian passport and currency and Nigerian flag. And the amalgamation treaty that was used by the British government to bring this division in Nigeria, where you now have the Eastern region have been separated to South, or Southeast, and all those names that you people call today. Those are all lingering effects of the Biafran civil war, which could have given the Biafran people their independence. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. And looking back at history and given the experience I have as a defense chief in Ambazonian movement, a top diplomat that had led our diplomatic team in many missions in Europe and in Americas, my advice to the Biafran people is for them to learn from the Ambazonian experience, learn from how things are going, and try to adjust your movement. I'm not a Biafran, but I'm a lover of Biafra. I have a lot of good friends in Biafra. It is my interest sometimes to say my view about the Biafran movement. The Nigerian government, if they are wise, if the new president who is there is wise and seek peace and try to return that country back to the regional divides that existed in 1960 to 1963, it might solve a lot of problems and create that space where the people of Biafra can feel a sense of identity, patriotism with Nigeria or whatever. But there should always be a room for leaders not to tie themselves in a tight corner where they cannot come out.
Never there with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He was never there in the IPOB organogram. So there is no way he would have fit in, and there's no way a criminal would have fitted in into leading a group of people, a movement that is that their approach is non-violence. So because he told the road that leads to violence, he can never, and there's no way he would have fitted in. So do not see the criminal as a member of IPOB. He was never. Go to Finland where he lives. He does not have a unit. He does not have a coordinator. And before, there are things that qualifies you as a member of IPOB. Here I am now as a member of IPOB. I can provide you with my monthly dues receipts. And there are so many things people of my unit can identify with me. People of my zone can identify with me. My coordinators can identify with me. So if you cannot be identified by any member, by a zonal or unit coordinator or national coordinator, automatically you are never a member of IPOB. So remove that idea of the criminal being...
Can I come into
say that, no, this is a wolf. I don't want to hear somebody calling it a sheep. And I don't want to avoid getting into the eternal politics of Biafra, the Biafra movement. I also avoid putting my weight behind any faction so that I can interact positively with every stakeholder in the Biafran movement and play that role as a friend and a Pan-Africanist. And I believe I am also a Biafran because by heart, I identify with all indigenous people in Africa. As the PRAP, the People's Right Advocacy Platform, we advocate for all indigenous people's rights, including the people of Uganda in Uganda and many other people who are oppressed, not forgetting our brothers in South Sudan and those in Sudan, in the Darfur region, where we black people, I always call black people big nose people, are being hated. They hate us black people big nose everywhere. So we have to come up and really defend our people. And when we get into internal politics, there is only one winner, the oppressor win. When you fight each other in the Biafra movement, the person on the street in Biafra get confused. They listen to multiple voices. You cannot stop them from listening to everybody, and they will get confused. And from my own understanding, because I was one of the architects of the Biafran Ambazonia, the PR, the propaganda part of it, as well as the strategic part of it, I was very involved in coming up with some of those concepts. And in the design, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was very, very particular about his setup and his vision as a leader of the Biafran people. He was very, very focused on creating this political organization of the Directorate of State that will have a strong control of the political agenda and impose it on the various, I think they call it country national coordinators, and down the ladder you have the zonal coordinators so that they can have a stronghold on the resistance on the ground and be able to have effective liberation movement while protecting the human rights of the people and guaranteeing the security of the south of the southeastern region of Nigeria. He was very particular about that. Notwithstanding that, I'll get back to the question of Mazi, Patrick, but one must not forget that Biafra is not IPOB. Biafra is a country. Biafra is an identity. It is not Igbo. Biafra is not a tribe. Biafra is a nation. And Biafra self-determination seek to establish a nation that is post Nnamdi Kanu, is post IPOB. The same like South Africa. The ACNC is not South Africa. But you also have institutional leadership and you have leadership by rank of influence. People, everybody in Biafra, every citizen must have equal rights, and this right must be respected for you people to be effective. The right of political association, the right of political participation, where everybody, by their own self-right as citizen, can create organization and represent their own version or their own viewpoint to the degree to which they are influential. It was as a result of my take on institutional leadership, which you will say that can kick out Simon Ekpa, and leadership by rank of influence, where he can also exert himself. He has made a lot of mistakes, but everybody's rights should be respected so that your own rights should be respected. That said, and you are now more interested by the money, by the fame, by your own ego. It is very easy to make that mistake. And I want to urge WADA and many of the Biafran people to look at Simon Ekpa in this light, that he is a child in his heart that has lost his way because of ego. Sometimes people present themselves in this way because of the anger that the Biafran people feel. He has a history also of feeling bad. Because I cannot say without proof that he has been bribed by the Nigerian government, because I've worked with Ayaba. Today, Ayaba is in prison for war crimes. And those crimes were committed in his name. Some of them, he actively facilitated those crimes. But I believe in his heart that he loves the people of Ambazonia. But because he wants power so much, he wants to challenge Cameroon so much, he was deceived to start receiving power where it is blood money, or they'll call it blood money. He received dirty power, dirty fame. And at the end of the day, he becomes, don't let the anger against Nigeria transform you into the monster that Nigeria is. Don't let the corruption the corruption that we see in Nigeria get into your movement and the hate. The reason why people succeed is because they are able to work as a team, even when they disagree with each other. Biafran they are getting into the initial stages of a civil war because of the tensions in the various leadership abroad. If somebody have lost their way and they are making themselves more, you people are competing with somebody will say I'm a general, another one will say I'm a field marshal. We had all those things in Amazonia. Today he's saying he's prime minister because he wants to say that he's the boss. And don't get caught up with fighting that PR. It doesn't matter who say he's a leader, whether it's a leader of an institution, a leader in a platform, all these names and things don't matter for the people on the ground. What matters for them is your influence. Are you a positive influence? Are you acting in a way that the enemy cannot carry out force flag attack against your own people? Are you willing to support things that hurt your people? Yes, Simon Ekpa have support policy that he knows hurt the Biafran people. I say this because I've approached him when they declared 1 month lockdown in 2023. And he admitted to me that he was taking those decisions because of the forces on the ground. And I tell him, forces do not control leaders. Leaders control forces. So is Simon Ekpa a Nigerian agent? I wouldn't be conclusive because that would be taking side with your factions. But I want you people, my appeal to you is that despite the differences that every group have and the effect of you conceding to one another, if you people do not find a way to work together, to be seen by the people on the ground as being able, despite your differences and really sometimes very painful differences. When I left Ayaba, he tried to kill me. He tried to instigate the direct attack against my family, my properties back home. And I was fortunate that because of my personal relationship with the forces, my standing within the society, with the community, those things could not happen. But you people will save Nigeria. You will help Nigeria very well when you start fighting each other. It's difficult to ignore each other because you are driving a boat, somebody's busy busting a hole under the boat. Should you paddle the canoe or should you stop the person from busting that hole? But that is a question I will allow you people to.
So, my beautiful family, that brings us to the end of this beautiful update. Do it to like the video, share, and subscribe. I still remain your one and only Progress the Analyst as I give you all the update back to back. Thank you so much, and bye bye.